So with the new features like ask maps about this place or know before you go. And if there are things that are really positive being mentioned, get them highlighted everywhere you can, because everything is fair game at this point.
Welcome to Search Party. Today I'm joined by Celeste Gonzalez, the director of Roo Labs, which is the experimental SEO testing division of Rickety Roo. She is a conference speaker, a local SEO expert, and the host of the LA SEO Meetup. Welcome to the show, Celeste.
Thank you, Amanda, for having me. Really happy to be here.
I'm very excited to see what you have brought, because I've heard a little bit about it, but I haven't seen it, so I'm excited. But first, as we always do on this show, we start with a little game of two truths and a lie. So what do you have for me?
So I collect a lot of Legos. I have a coin collection. I once collected snow globes. I love to travel, and I solo travel. So I've actually solo traveled to 3 different countries so far. And random boring thing, I'm left-handed.
I'm gonna say you're not a collector.
Ooh, I am a collector. I love stuff and things so much.
I love stuff and things.
It's a little bit of a problem. I am left-handed, and I have solo traveled, and I do enjoy it, but not 3 countries. So it was just the numbers lie.
Yeah, that's the technicality that gets me. I like solo traveling, but I'm too extroverted for it, I think. Like I've done it once. I subleased my apartment when I lived in DC, and went to a few different countries and had a blast. I mean, it was fantastic, but I was like, I don't know. I just like having people around. Like when I went, I was doing all these like couch surfing events and stuff to like meet other people who were traveling, and that's what I was like having the most fun. So I was like,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, like I totally, I feel like the benefit is just like you can just do whatever you want, right? You don't have to like negotiate with a bunch of other people.
It's all in your schedule, which is nice. But I mean, at the end of the day, still with some of like group tours, it's nice to get to meet people that way and then be like, oh, actually, I'm doing a different tour like tomorrow. Do you want to join? So that part is really nice. And it's like, oh my gosh, these people I just met on vacation that one time. And then you have them on social media and just get to see where they're traveling to afterwards. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So where did you travel to by yourself?
I went through a few parts of Mexico by myself and then Costa Rica.
Nice.
So yeah, planning the next solo trip, but nothing set in stone with, flights, all those things right now.
Yeah, Costa Rica is high on my list. I really want to go.
It was gorgeous. It was a lot of fun. Everyone was so nice there.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to go. Sweet. Okay, as I said at the top of the show, I'm really excited to check out the thing that you built. What did you bring to the party, Celeste?
So what I brought to the party was the GBP Reviews Sentiment Analyzer Chrome extension.
Okay, that's a mouthful, but walk us through it.
So the Chrome extension, what it does is you go to a Google Maps listing and you can go through the reviews for the past 90-ish days and pull the sentiment and the reviews from them. And it also gives you a reviews velocity score as well. So just the overview here, it says 30 days after update. It actually does go to about, 60 days now. You get to see the actual recent reviews. It just gives you random +3 recent reviews, negative reviews up to 3 if there are. Some topic clusters. So just based on the review language, it'll just give sort of overall clustering on what is mentioned there. So this was for an Italian restaurant that's in the example. So it talks about the customer service, the wait time and scheduling, overall experience, and then specific things, so drinks and beverages. And it also gives you some content opportunities. So with the review content and what people are saying about you, it gives just an AI generated opportunities and things you can highlight or call out based on what people are saying. And you're able to export this into a spreadsheet so you can go ahead and look at this data further. But the main reason why I did the export version was so you can run this on, your own listings. Obviously, you can use the GBP API to get your own data that way, but this is very useful for grabbing competitor data. So you're able to grab different spreadsheets for your competitors, work them all together, and be able to compare and contrast and do a competitive analysis in that sort of way.
Yeah, I was going to ask what was the impetus for building this? Was it that you were doing a competitive analysis like that, or what drove you to do this?
Yeah, so with the vibe coding experience that I had previously, I just built collab notebooks. And one of them was already pre-built. It was actually from Brittany Muller's Reddit API, one of her Maven courses that she put on. So that still seemed to work with an API a little scary for me. And I know, I can just pull our actual GBP listings data. So it was more so like, okay, I'm going through these tasks, I'm looking at GBP stuff. I wish I could get more of the competitor data. I think I have my idea for what I want to build. And, considering what I'd done before, I was like, okay, let me try this out. So this was a really like my biggest project at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I used a mix of ChatGPT just in chat asking how to get this done. I talked to Sam Torres a lot since she's very, a technical SEO, and she had brought up Cursor to me. So then I started going straight into Cursor. So I know a lot of people use Base 44 or Replit or Lovable, something a little bit easier to get into vibe coding. I kind of just went straight into it with Cursor. And I definitely don't regret it. I think that was the best way for me to get started, was just diving in that way, having no code experience. And yeah, there were lots of issues, lots of troubleshooting. So I'd say the first version or two versions were using that mix of the base code from ChatGPT and then Cursor. And then for the third version that I rolled out that extended this to the 60 days of data was with Claude Code, which was much faster to get done in comparison.
So, what advice would you give to people who are kind of on a similar journey as you are, where they're like, I know something I want to build, but I haven't done this before? Like you said, you jumped into it, right? Like you went for it. Like what are some of the mistakes you made that you want to help people not make the same
Mhm.
mistakes?
Oof. Well, from what I've built and what I've done, I would not build anything just in regular ChatGPT chat at this point. You can use like the Codex or go straight to Claude Code. You can use the $20 a month plan and you can definitely get things done. I know people can run into context window issues and things like that. Um, I'd say when you do run, obviously I've run into a lot of those with Claude, being on a $20 account, you can get to it pretty easily. You can try to make it work for you by, Claude runs a lot of those max or extra usage things. So they give you more performance or more to work with. So look at the peak hours. If you are going to be working in peak hours, no, you're not going to get the most bang for your buck. So you might want to work in off peak hours when you're doing this type of work.
Mm.
If they do any of those specials where they're giving you more to work with, try to work when you have those and like use as much as they give you. Um, and if the chat is starting to max out or you're starting to just keep running into problems, ask for it to summarize everything that you've done and give you a document to then open a new chat
Uh,
to work with. So you're just trying to get the most bang for your buck and working with here so you don't hit the context windows. I would say go straight to Claude Code at this point. There's so many great resources, and Claude is actually rolling out some of their own courses. So that could make things a little bit easier to just dip your feet in that way versus going the cursor route.
no, that's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so let's get back to this extension. I know you showed us, the main highlights here, but how would you advise somebody use this to their advantage? So if, a local business, a local marketer gets this extension and they start playing around with it, you kind of alluded to a couple things, especially like
Mhm.
the competitive research side, but what are some tips you have for how they can best utilize this extension?
Yes. So I'd say, especially right now, the local side, we're seeing how much reviews text is even more important than we may have previously thought. So with the new features like Ask Maps about this place or Know Before You Go showing up on Google Maps listings, it's pulling from the review text. So when you do see Know Before You Go, it'll be like, oh, customers or reviewers frequently say X about this place. The Ask Maps about this place, they're preloaded questions. You can also ask your own about a specific listing. When you click one of those preloaded questions, it first pulls in reviews to be able to answer them, and then it looks broader at the Google business profile, the website, and then third party, Instagram, Facebook, other sources that could work to give that information. So knowing how important the reviews are, auditing the language to see what is being said about your own listings that you're working on is super important because it can affect the Know Before You Go and it can affect how these questions are answered. It can cite things I've seen for restaurants like long wait times. It's not something that you're putting on the website or anything, but so many people are saying it. And obviously, people can go ahead and read these reviews, but now it's top of mind. It's the first thing people are seeing, and that can deter them away. So it's really good to look through your own data to see what are the common patterns and trends. If some things are negative, okay, we got to talk to the client. We've got to see what we can do, what we can work on to try to improve this. Obviously, there are some things that are out of our power. We are not the customer service representatives. We are not the ones doing these things, but we can bring it up to the client and they can try to make the changes internally to fix some of the things mentioned. And if there are things that are really positive being mentioned, get them highlighted everywhere you can because everything is fair game at this point. The website, highlight those USPs, highlight what people are saying about you. That could be actually displaying the reviews, which originally, we've all done, but they can be using that as specific language in your headers and being sort of differentiator in your title tags. It can also just be something that you use across socials or your Google business profile posts and just reinforcing that positive language.
Yeah, I love that, especially like it's like that first step of just getting a lay of the land, like what are people actually saying about you that can be extrapolated by AI.
Mhm.
And then taking it that step further, right? Of okay, now that we know either A, we have some negative language that maybe we need to work with other teams to address, or B, the positive. I think that's something that people skip a lot. I don't know, like from what I've seen, you're right. There are a lot of ways that you can repurpose that, post it in other places, etc. How can people, like when they're collecting reviews, maybe like if you identify, if you see the summary and you're like, nobody's really talking about like this thing that we really want them to talk about.
Mhm.
So it's not positive or negative, it's just
Yeah.
absent. How would you address that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think so. A lot of this stuff does come down to client communications there, and it could even just be the client asking you, like, "Hey, nobody's talking about this," and that's where we can now reevaluate the other places people can know this information about you. So, like, let's just say, um, dentists. Obviously, people want a dentist to make them feel comfortable, and maybe the certain dentist offers things to make people more comfortable. It's like, oh, we play movies for you, whatever movie you want, or we have massage chairs. Like I've seen that pop up actually on GBP listings. Um, and if that stuff isn't being highlighted in reviews, well, is it known to people at all outside of them? Because
Mm,
obviously with the reviews, it's all coming from outside interactions. It's all coming from off the web. It's whatever happened in person. And, let's say they do offer some sort of comfort menu or something at the dentist, but it's not online. It's not on their website. They don't have it highlighted on their GBP. There's no GBP posts about it. There's no social media posts about it. Well, And if it's something that, maybe people have to ask for, they don't know they can ask for it. So then at that point, we can at least do our part on the website of things and making that information available. And then still having the conversation with the client, like, okay, well, you do offer these things. We'll add it to the website. And also maybe we can, if we can have your front desk person, whoever it is, let people know from the start, or have it, on their intake forms that, you can use a massage chair if you'd like, or we offer earplugs, whatever it is, and just making sure it shows up on and offline.
I like, as an extension of that too, thinking about how the way that the subjects of the reviews change over time, kind of validating marketing efforts, like you're saying. Like, I don't hear that a lot, where you can almost attribute success based on how people are talking about your brand in reviews. But I think that must be a thing, right? Like, that's got to be a decent way to see if, just like in the way that you're using it to audit, oh, like this messaging is missing, like let's figure out how to incorporate it, that it's also good for validation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, completely agreed. And especially like, people are dealing with reviews disappearing. So, it's really important to just keep exporting and saving that data for reference. If you have to put in a ticket and just like, hey, what happened to my reviews? But also just getting to see like, okay, these reviews disappeared, and maybe, that could have impacted visibility in a way with those new like AI powered features. They removed reviews. Did that impact our know before you go? Did that impact the way it's answering these Ask Maps questions? And, it's just all about doing those sort of manual checks. And yeah, with GBP, lots of things can happen that are pretty random, like the reviews disappearing. So it's just very nice to keep record of it.
So talk to me a little bit more about the competitive analysis side of it. Like, what exactly are you looking for? Is it mostly just the like, not, I guess topical gaps is, I don't know if that's the right way to explain it, but like, is that what you're looking for? Are you looking to see if there are like features that your competitors are being lauded for that you didn't really think about? Like, what are all the different ways that you've used it?
So, part of the reason why I went about creating this tool in this way to pull the reviews was to be able to get like a touch point, or just kind of understand what's going on with competitors as well. Because a lot of review tools, or just tools in general, it focuses a lot on the quantifiable data. And it's more like, okay, they have this many reviews, you have this many reviews. This is their star rating, this is your star rating. And with the API, you're able to pull in your own reviews, you can get all this stuff. So like, I've had the questions before, I'm like, why or how can this really be any different from anything else with the competitive side? But getting to be able to pull the actual reviews and see their sentiment does help you with your content, because you can look at it in a way where maybe their weaknesses are actually our strengths, and we need to hit harder on that.
Oh yeah, I
Because
love
these are
that.
the trust factors, and these are the things that, okay, let's say you're in position 2, they're in position 3, but their sentiment is a lot better. As a user, as a potential customer, maybe I like what's being said about them more than what I like about the person in position 2.
Mm-hmm.
And, when it gets that close, every little thing counts and adds up in that way. So if you are able to look at the competitor reviews and see that, okay, everyone is really talking about this point for them and this is what makes them special, is that something that's applicable to us? Is that something completely them, we can't touch it? Or is that something where we could also step in? If it is really just something about customer service, then it's like, okay, we've got to step it up at that point. And we have to have the tough conversation with the client. Hey, this other competitor, they just keep saying that people are blown away by their customer service. So, not saying that anything is necessarily wrong, but it's something to consider and to think about working on, because at the end of the day, you can have the visibility, but it doesn't mean you have the trust.
Yeah, great point. Is there anything else about this tool that we should know before we move on to our next segment?
I mean, I'd love to try to show it live, and if not, I can play the video.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
For this to be able to work, you have to go into reviews and sort by newest, because the parsing works based on this. So it says 20 hours ago, 21 hours ago, 2 days, 5 days, 2 weeks ago. So it knows to stop where it says 2 months ago. So that's where it's
okay.
60-ish. So it'll pull everything that says 2 months ago. Once it hits 3 months ago, it stops pulling. This is just to keep it fast, because obviously some places have so many reviews in that 60-day window, and others can maybe have just a few. So I had to put a stop there so that way it wouldn't get too slow. The goal is to be able to update it to be about 90 days. The other side of it is, because the parsing works where it's key to stop. It's only in English right now. It's not supported for other languages. Doesn't mean you can't use it in other countries, but it's just, it's based on these cues that are in English by the months ago. So if it is in another language, it's not going to say months ago, so it's not going to pull.
Okay.
So I ran it for La La Land. This is their Glendale location, and it's basically importing what you see on the Chrome extension, just so that way you're able to work on it in Sheets. You have the business name, the URL to go back to, the date and time that you pulled this, the analysis period, and then the overall sentiment review, score, and review velocity. So you get on average about 3.3 reviews per week. And then your little summary here. So it's about 44% positive, 50% negative, 6% neutral of the 32 reviews that were analyzed. The most frequently mentioned topics are coffee and order, and customers commonly describe using words like bad, good, great. There's a notable concern with 50% of reviews being negative, which may warrant attention.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. So then this is the topic clustering part. So this just completely mixed sentiment here for everything across the board. Our opportunities here. So it's pretty basic. They're just regularly AI generated things to get you going. So it will give you the source and which review, or if it's multiple, that there were multiple reviews that this idea came from. So customers call out beautiful. So I'm assuming they're talking about the place. I've been to this coffee shop, that it's beautiful. So it's like maybe you want to add that into the about page or GBP description. It says this specific review, you might want to feature it as a testimonial. There's a team spotlight, and usually this will let you know if there was a specific review that mentions maybe a team member, or just in general that the staff was friendly. And then here you go, visual content. Your space gets compliments. Invest in photo and video content that captures the vibe that the customers describe. And here are just all the reviews during the time period with the sentiment score, the confidence. And then it says keywords, but it's just the nouns and adjectives that were most frequently used.
It's cool to see the actual output, and really interesting. I know a lot of the words are like, especially for them, it was very mixed. So it was like,
yeah,
amazing, terrible. Yeah.
I've checked on them too previously. Like I've used them as a sort of like a test. Because it's like they have a decent amount of reviews, but not too many, where it's like, okay, I'm waiting a little bit for it to get them. And yeah, it's starting to skew. It was a little bit more positive before. So it is starting to skew. And, if you keep exporting this stuff, you're going to be able to see how it keeps changing. So they've changed to pretty mixed at this point.
Yeah, I like that idea too. If you're doing it like every month, then you can almost chart exactly how sentiment's changing. That's a really cool use of it too. So how can somebody get this if they want it?
Yeah, so you can just go to the Chrome web store and search up the GBP Review Sentiment Analyzer. It's also linked on my website. I have it on my LinkedIn as well. So
sweet. We'll drop it in the show notes too.
Yeah, I was like, you can search for it or just drop the link.
Yes. All right, sweet. We'll drop the link. And if anybody does use it, let us know how it goes, because I'm sure she'd be interested to know. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I wanted to we don't always do this segment, but it's our gossip corner segment.
Okay.
And it's basically just me showing a report that came out recently that I'm curious to just get your thoughts on. So, Toast did a top restaurant digital marketing trends in 2026 piece, and some of it wasn't terribly shocking, but I thought there were some interesting bits, and I'd honestly be curious to know if any of it is surprising or, I don't know, just standard to you. I don't have as much local experience. So yeah, since I'm talking to you, I was like, let me see what she thinks about this. So, I mean, I guess starting here, does this surprise you that there's only like for restaurants, only 34% of them have a dedicated marketer?
It does not surprise me. I've talked to someone I'm pretty close to in the industry, and they mainly work with restaurants now. And yeah, they've told me like it's like they've had nothing done, and anything that's a simple change can make a pretty big impact for them. So she's like, it's kind of easy to work for them because not all of them are investing into this.
Yeah, because any, like you said, any change is a huge boon for them. This does not, honestly, I'm surprised
Does
it's not
not
even more
surprise.
than that.
Yeah,
Right.
I would expect it to be even a little higher now at this point.
So this Instagram surged in popularity is almost surprising in that I thought it would have been popular, and that Facebook is still number one did surprise me. But again, I'm not in the weeds. I know it's popular, but I would have thought, I feel like personally, I'm always checking Instagram
Yeah.
for like restaurant updates and stuff. So what is your take on that?
No, I'm actually surprised by it as well. I would have thought Instagram would have taken the top spot by this point. Um, yeah, I don't know. That is pretty surprising.
And then online, yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah, no.
This one, I'm like, I think we're aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Harvard Business School study showed that a 1 star increase on Yelp can increase revenue by 5 to 9%, which is it is cool that you can. That's a cool stat, I guess, to get
Mhm.
buy-in from your team to do this kind of work if you're able to show movement like that. But yeah, to me, the biggest surprise was that Facebook was still a pretty significant deal. Yeah, 2017, 2018, 2019.
Is this globally?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, because I was like, maybe globally it does make a little more
Let's
sense.
see if it says. Well, I don't think it says. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I don't see anywhere.
I think on the global aspect, it does make a lot more sense that Facebook would be still number one.
That's true. It so comes down to your
Hmm.
particular audience anyway, right? Like that's why it's kind of funny that it's billed as like the top trends of 2026 because no shade to Toast, they're awesome, but uh, you know, I don't think any of this is extremely extremely new or, or anything significantly different. Unless, I don't know, like, have you heard of anything, not just for restaurants, but like, what trends are you seeing that are actually different this year? I mean, obviously, AI is like the big trend for everybody, but in terms of local
Hmm.
advertising themselves, have you noticed anything shifting?
There are more people interested in moving to TikTok. So,
True.
I mean, I feel like TikTok's still growing. It's not all the way there like Instagram yet, especially in the US. We almost like, was it going to be banned? Was it not going to be banned last year? So, I mean, they've been rolling out a lot of local features. So they actually have a local feed on there.
Mm,
So it's, pretty accurate. It does try to get, if I go on that feed, it does show places that are closer to me or just people who have posted videos that are somewhere around my vicinity. Um, the they also have their own reviews system in there, and they are getting their own review data. Before it was pulling in GBP reviews, but now they're doing their whole own system in there. So it seems that they're only going to get more local and more focused on those types of businesses and audiences. Yeah, I think we're still just starting out with it.
What about Reddit?
Hmm.
That's like the big advice for everybody right now. But for local businesses, have you seen people move in that direction?
I've seen some things work, and it's all pretty much the same advice that you see everywhere, like, that people are recommending for B2B or for SaaS. And
Yeah.
it's be there, answer questions, in the local subreddits. So, there's an LA subreddit, there's LA renters, different things. I mean, especially being over here, there's so many subreddits for a major city.
Hmm.
And you can also think of reviews as the comments in Reddit and just comments in social media in general. So I've seen just even for a plumbing client, they've been recommended in subreddits for, like Orange County. And people are saying, who do I trust? Who do I work with? And, that is an industry where there are trust issues. So people do go there for those recommendations. And it's nice to be able to see sometimes your clients are recommended there. So I'd say it more in a review aspect versus recommending yourself
Yeah.
for those things. But yeah, in local subreddits, I have seen like handymen give advice when people do ask for things like, how do I do this? How can I DIY this or help this? So there are parts to it that can work. I will say I don't think I've seen it work at the scale of like a B2B or SaaS.
Hmm.
It's more thinking on the small business end, obviously with huge like multi-location chains, something like a T-Mobile or Panera or something like that, completely different where yeah, they have the time to invest
Right.
into
They have not just one person doing marketing, they could
yeah,
have several people doing Reddit. Yeah.
exactly.
One of the things I saw that was interesting, so I'm in Richmond, Virginia, and I love the Richmond subreddit. It is like so helpful and like everyone's really nice in there. And one of the uh interesting local marketing things I saw was there's a real estate agent who has a profile, that people can
Mhm.
identify as being a real estate agent, but then he does like monthly, I think, real estate analyses of the area.
That's really cool.
And it's smart because people are really interested in it. It's like his expert opinion, and it's a hot topic
Mhm.
because the housing market's a mess. And I was like, I kind of want to reach out and be like, has this driven, business for you? Because the fact that I'm even remembering this now as we're talking about it, I feel like can be kind of significant. But it's like you said, the plumber giving the advice. It kind of
Mhm.
comes back to like, what's the value that you can bring?
Yes, exactly. And it's a harder sell to clients, of course, because they're like, well, I already have that stuff on my blog, or I already have like a YouTube video. Now you want me to go do this on another website, like, and
Right.
how are we going to track the leads from this? Like, when am I going to get leads from this? So, I mean, it's the same thing with like investing in video or just like a new platform. You've got to make sure it's the right fit and it's something you can invest the
Yeah.
time into and are okay with the waiting period.
Yeah, you don't want to do every channel. You want to do the channels that make the most sense for, like, there are certain things where people on Reddit are like asking, like, you can just check and see how many times are people asking, like, what's the best salon in my area, and if it's never, then don't bother, to be in there. Awesome. I really enjoyed this conversation, Celeste. If people want to find more about what you're up to, the content that you create, where can they find you?
Can find me on LinkedIn, Celeste Lilly on there. I think that's my link. I'm also on Blue Sky as well and TikTok. So I'll give you the links to be able to put those.
Yes, that would be awesome. Not everybody has TikTok, so that's a fun one to
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah,
I talk about it so much, I had to use it, to understand what I'm talking about and
true. Right.
testing it on my own.
Yeah, I didn't know about those newer. I don't have TikTok because if I did, I'd be addicted. So I have to only use it on a business basis. But those new local features, that's cool to know about. I was not aware. Well, Celeste, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you all so much for listening. If you want an invite to the after party, sign up for our newsletter. That's where you'll get exclusive behind the scenes tidbits and where our guests answer the spicy question of the month. This month, the question is, what marketing bubble is ready to burst? Until next time, keep learning, keep testing, and keep showing up.